Hello friends and welcome to my October TBR. Guys, it is spooky season. I'm already kind of reading some witchy, spooky things. I don't really go full horror for spooky season, but I do really like reading some paranormal stuff, some cute cozy witchy books, maybe a paranormal romance, something that has some spooky vibes. And I also really like thrillers, so I read a lot of those during this time. And I'm hoping that October is going to be absolutely full of that. We have a few readathons going on, more than I actually would really like to be participating in after the disaster that was September and all the readathons that I tried to participate in. But I think I'm going to be okay. So first and foremost, obviously, we have Spookopoly. It was kind of last minute announced by Becca that she is doing Spookopoly again this year. She's made a new board. We're here, we're ready. I will be rolling as I go throughout the month of October. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited for it. Taking a little break in between there for a week, Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading is doing a Patreon readathon. It's a, I think she said this publicly, I think it's okay to say this publicly, but she's doing a spooky version of her Timmy's TBR. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then also Leandra has, from the TBR Zero, has TBR Harvest. And I was gonna do, she has a couple different ways that you can play, and I was gonna do her board game also, but then Spookopoly got announced, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do, and Timmy's TBR is like a board game style. I was like, maybe I should do something different for that, just so I'm not doing 3 different board games, because it's not really gonna work out. So I decided to do I think it's called Trick or Treat. It's like a sheet of little icons, and they all have a prompt associated with it. And I'm doing easy mode, which means that you can cross off as many of them as you want for each book that you read, and the goal is just to try to cross them all off by the end of October. I'm not sure how many there are. There are a few of them. I'll put the sheet up here. So that's what we're doing for that. And then also Fablen is happening, which is hosted by Margaret from The Word Nerd, and this is kind of a D&D inspired game. I'm still not 100% clear on how it's gonna work, but we won't know the prompts for that. There are 5 acts that will be taking place throughout the month, and we won't know the prompts for each act until the act begins. It's a little bit like Amazing Readathon style in the fact that you sort of get you get the prompt dropped, and then you know what you're doing. There's character creation that gets you extra points based on certain things. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. It is competitive, so I'm on the team The Golden Rune, which I believe we get a bonus if we have a primarily yellow book. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's the cover of the book has to be more than 50%. I don't think I have a lot of yellow books on my TBR, so I'm going to be kind of trying to keep in mind yellow books. Obviously, I don't know the prompts for Fablen yet, and I'm rolling as I go for Spookopoly, so I don't know what I'm going to land on there, and I also don't know what I might land on. You know, I don't know the prompts yet for Timmy's TBR, so it's going to be a little bit hard to pick TBR race books. I'm gonna kind of end up being in a situation like I was last month, where I'm kind of trying to pick books based on prompts for the readathons that I'm doing, but then I ended up completing those prompts with other books, and then I still had the original book I was planning on reading on my TBR race TBR, and then I didn't end up reading it. So that's kind of we ended up, spoiler alert, we failed TBR race for last month, but we'll talk about that a little later. Editing Stacy popping in here, and I'm just realizing I never actually posted my September TBR video. I filmed it, I uploaded it, I never actually posted it. I never made it public for you guys, so you never saw it. So that's awesome. But anyway, I'll go over the books that I read later anyway. Or the books I was supposed to read anyway. So yeah, all the readathons again, but I think they're gonna balance a little better, especially since only one of them is actually competitive. So I'm not gonna feel like I'm completely letting my team down by not being involved in it. Moving on to some required reads. I don't have a lot to talk about once again. I haven't been very good about keeping up with my Patreon buddy reads lately. I just really haven't been reading them. The October one for Brittany Loves Reading is The Spell Shop, which I will have finished by the end of September, and then the rest of them have not been voted on yet. We do have our Cosmere read-along, which I will have finished The Final Empire by the end of September, and so we have The Well of Ascension, which I'm planning on getting to in October. I really, really enjoyed. I'm really glad that I reread The Final Empire. I'd read it like 2 years ago, but I hadn't 100% remembered what happened, and I'm really glad that I reread it because I did not remember what happened. I still don't remember 100% what happens at the end of the book. There were a lot of details that I had forgotten, so I'm really, really glad that I decided to reread it, and I just feel like I'm gonna want to start the second book like immediately as soon as I finish the first one. So I really want to keep up the momentum and keep reading them frequently without too much time in between so that I don't forget things, so that I remember everything. Because Brandon Sanderson likes to have a lot of these little details in there. And I feel like if I have forgotten everything, then the story isn't gonna make as much sense to me. So I would like to get to this. It's even longer than the first book. It is almost 800 pages. It's 756 pages long. I just realized there's a glossary at the back of it. So anyway, this is also a very tattered copy I got on thrift books, but you know what? It's fine. I don't care. And then the only other thing that I'm kind of calling a read along, I mentioned this in my September video, and I think I mentioned it in August, maybe, is Gavin's Stephen King books that he's reading. I'm trying to read those along with him, and so in order for his second installment, I think he started reading for it already. I've already read The Stand, but I have Firestarter, The Long Walk, and The Dead Zone that I need to read. I do have the audiobook for Firestarter on Everand, and then The Long Walk is not very long. I have to get The Dead Zone from the library. But hopefully I can get at least one of those on the TBR so that it kind of forces me to read them. Because I would like to read them so that I can watch his video. So there's that. All right, let's talk about TBR race. Like I said, we kind of failed. I am gonna add the caveat that I do still have like a week left of September as I am filming this, so I might squeeze in another thing. So if that happens, I'm gonna kind of wait to like upload this until as late as possible, and I will add like I actually finished this like on the screen, and then I'm gonna wait to do the punishment wheel until like the last minute so that I know what I've actually read and what I haven't. But as of when I am filming this, my first roll was a seasonal read, and for that I picked The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I did read that, or rather I actually ended up DNFing it, but I at least attempted to read it. Roll number 2, we got 2+ authors, and for that I picked Obsidio, and I ended up not reading that. It's still sitting right there. That's a really fast read, so I might end up having at least started it. I don't know. I might save it, because I think there's a on Leandra's like trick or treat sheet. Is that what is that what it's supposed to be called? Because that's kind of a cute name because it rhymes. But anyway, her little trick or treat icons, I believe one of the prompts is to reread a book, and so I might save that for that one, but we'll see. Roll number 3 was an anti-recommendation. For this I picked The Maidens, and I did not read that one. Roll number 4 we got Animal on the cover or in the title, and I picked The Wren in the Holly Library. It's still sitting right there. For roll number 5, I got 300 to 500 pages. For that, I picked The Spell Shop. I have not finished that, but I will finish it before the end of September for sure. I'm almost done with it. I might finish it today. Who knows? Roll number 6, that was our final roll, so that was the mood read, and I picked The Final Empire for that, and like I said before, will finish that by the end of September. And then my punishment book, once again, was The Last Housewife for like the 3rd time, and I am determined to read that book. So, hopefully, you will see on the screen that I at least started it, if not finished it, before the end of September. I have The Final Empire and The Spell Shop, which I'm just reading like 40-ish pages a day of The Final Empire, although I'm getting to like the last like 200 pages of the book, and I, at some point here, am not going to want to stop reading it. I'm almost done with The Spell Shop, and then I have one other book that am like 60 pages into that wasn't on my TBR, and then I have The Last Housewife. And so I might be able to squeeze in one more book after that, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's pick. I once again have a truck because I keep putting it in there because there's nowhere else to put it. The dog has been terrible lately about chewing on the baby's toys. So we'll take yellow out. So we have red, green, and blue in there. And let's see what track we're going to be following. Green. We're going to follow the green track. All right. I keep getting such like small amounts of books that I've actually contemplated a little bit like, am I making this game too easy on myself? But I still haven't managed to be able to actually finish a TBR yet, so clearly not. But anyway. Like I said, I will spin the punishment wheel. I'm going to try to wait as long as possible to see if I at least start another book in there. But I will spin the punishment wheel and I will insert that footage here. And you will see, even though I don't know what I'm reading for a punishment book in October. And let's go play TBR race. Alright guys, my tripod is very unstable for reasons that I don't fully understand and that I can't seem to be able to fix, and hopefully it doesn't fall over. But anyway, let's do this. Let's do roll number 1. So I think the baby, I keep hearing little noises. I think the baby's starting to wake up. This rolling might wake him up. Yeah, it did. Okay. 2, starting off strong. POC. All right, roll number 1, we got Person of Color. And so for this, I'm going to read Transcendent Kingdom by Yagyasi. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I read Homegoing by her a few years ago, and really, really loved it. I mean, it's like a really hard read, but it's a really important and powerful read. And so I'm expecting this to be exactly the same. I got this for $3 at I think a Dollar General while I was on vacation in Vermont early in September. So this is apparently about a Ghanaian family. Is that how you say that? A family from Ghana. Gifty is a 6th-year PhD candidate in neuroscience at Stanford. Her brother is was a gifted high school athlete who died of a heroin overdose after an ankle injury left him hooked on oxytocin. Her suicidal mother is living in her bed. Ooh, that sounds tough. This is I'm not sure how long the original regular print copy is. This is a large print copy, and it's it's only like 400 pages, which I feel like large print 400 pages is not that much. It's not going to take that long to read. Not very like spooky themed, but you know, it's fine. I think it's still going to be a really good read. Roll number 2. See how long he stays over there without crying and making me come get him. 6. Another doubles. Good thing doubles aren't a punishment here. 6. Spring. Roll number 2 was spring. And this is always a little bit of a rough one. I kept all the season ones on there. I have like all 4 seasons, and then I also just have a seasonal space for whatever season we happen to be in. And I actually kind of wish that I had removed spring. I feel like summer, fall, and winter are a lot easier to find books that like match the vibe of it. And I feel like spring, for some reason, it's just hard. But anyway, what I'm going with, I don't really know if this counts. And in fact, now that I'm looking at it, there are like snowflakes on the cover of it. So I don't know if this really works, but we're going with it. This is The Enchantress Returns, which is the second book of In the Land of Stories by Chris Colfer. There's kind of like a meadow and a field here in the middle, and I feel like kind of like fairy tale vibes are a little springy, right? I don't know. This is a stretch, but this is like literally the only thing I could find that even remotely seemed to fit spring. I read the first book in this series a long time ago and really enjoyed it, but I just never continued on. But this is about a brother and sister, I believe, who I think get like pulled into a storybook, and they end up in a magical land where all of the fairy tales exist, and they have to kind of like survive their way through it. I don't really remember at all what happened in the first book. Maybe I should try to find some kind of a spoilery synopsis of it, because I don't 100% know that I'm gonna remember anything. I might be completely lost. But it also might be the kind of thing where it's for children, it's middle grade, so it might be the kind of thing that like pretty nicely like sums up at the beginning of it, like what happened in the last book, but we'll see. Roll number 3. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 500 plus. For roll number 3, we got 500 plus pages, and this was an easy decision. This was my first thought, The Well of Ascension. We're putting it on here, so we have to at least start it in October. I didn't really talk about what this series is about. The first book in this follows Vin, who I believe this is Vin. She's a 16-year-old girl. She's an orphan. She's sort of plucked out of this kind of sad existence where she's living with a group of thieves, and she's not being very well treated by them, but she's existing, she's surviving. She's kind of plucked out of this by Kelsier, who is a Mistborn. And Vin has always had these kind of like magical abilities that she doesn't fully understand. She just knows that she can do certain things. Kelsier tells her that she is also a Mistborn and that she can use metals. You like swallow metals and then you can burn them to sort of do different things. And together with a handful of other of Kelsier's trusted friends, they plan a rebellion. And it's a great time. I have no idea where the story is going from the end of the first book, but it's a great time. This one, it says evil has been defeated, now the war begins. So roll number 4. 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Does that say -9? -9? That seems like a really large number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 500 plus. Again. Roll number 4, we had to go back again. So we went back to the 500 plus page spot again. For this, I'm gonna pick The Red Pyramid by Rick Riordan. This has been like on my TBR before, but it's never been on my official like TBR race TBR. I'd intended to read it quite a while ago. I can't remember for what specifically, but I've been meaning to read it ever since and have just never read it, mostly because it's a little chunky. It's just barely over 500 pages, but it's also middle grade, so it should read pretty quickly. So this is the first book in his Kane Chronicles trilogy, which is I don't think it's that connected to the Percy Jackson series. Like, I don't think Percy Jackson is in here. But it's the same kind of idea, but instead of the Greek gods, it is an Egyptian god, and it's following two siblings whose father is an Egyptologist, and he accidentally like lets an Egyptian god out into the world, and then I believe disappears. And so these kids have to work together to try to find their father and defeat this Egyptian god, or put him back where he belongs, or whatever. And I really want to keep reading more Rick Riordan. I just like haven't done it. So now it's on the TBR. Now I have to do it, right? I have to do it. That's the first time that's happened. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. YA. All right, rule number 5 is YA, and this was difficult. I don't have a lot of YA books. I have a lot of middle grade, and I have a lot of adult. I don't have a lot of YA. But actually, what I have picked, this is stretching things a little bit, but just bear with me. The next Animorphs book. Now, I know you're gonna say, but Stacey, those are middle grade. No, if you've read them, they're at the very best upper middle grade, if not like young YA. There are some dark things that happen in these books. People die, like there's some dark stuff that happens. This is not for children. So even though they are kind of written in like a middle grade style, the content, I would argue, is very much for like older teenagers. So we're calling this YA. I read this is the 14th one. I read the 13th one in September, and it was a really, really good one. A really kind of big thing happened, and it kind of ended on a little bit of a cliffhanger, and so I'm really interested to see kind of where it goes from that book. So, The Unknown is being added to the TBR. Rule number 6. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A, and, the, and. So it has to have one of those words in the title. All right, rule number 6 is A, and, the, and. So any of those 4 words in the title. And I'm picking The Long Walk by Stephen King, which is in this bind up. It is from here to about here. So like that much of this. How long is that? It's like 250 pages long, maybe. This is about I think it's about a group of boys. It's like a competition where like a bunch of teenage boys have to just like keep walking. Like literally like until you collapse of exhaustion or like die. And then whoever's left walking at the end wins, I guess. I'm not really clear on the plot, but I know that's what happens. So, rule number 7. We're crooked, but I don't want to try to move the phone because I'm afraid I'm going to knock the tripod over. So I apologize if that bugs people. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 300 to 500. All right, rule number 7 was 300 to 500 pages. So we're going to add on another Stephen King book, and we're going to add on the Firestarter, or just Firestarter, I guess. This is another Stephen King book. This is about a young girl who develops fire abilities. And I don't really know know what happens beyond that, but I'm looking forward to it. I've never read this one before, so I usually really love Stephen King, so looking forward to it. Rule number 8. What was I just saying about the game being too nice to me? Now it's gonna give me like 20 books. That one went off the screen, but it's a 2, so 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 LGBT. For rule number 8, we got LGBT+, and I'm cheating a little bit because I'm adding on a book that's already been on a previous TBR race TBR, which technically I'm not allowed to do. Once they're on the TBR, they're not supposed to go on again, because I'm pretty sure this is on the punishment wheel. But I'm still gonna add it on here because I'm pretty sure it's the only book I own that works for this prompt, and I want to read it during October. So we're cheating and we're putting it on here. This is A Long Time Dead by Samara Breger. I think this was on my July TBR race TBR. This is about a woman who becomes a vampire and has no idea what's going on and what's happening to her. And she meets another lady vampire who kind of teaches her how to be a vampire and tells her what to expect. And they fall in love. So, it's a lady vampire romance. And I am here for it. I'm not entirely sure what the vibe of this book is. I don't know if it's just kind of like a cute paranormal romance or if it has more horror vibes. But I'm really looking forward to reading it. Off the board. Back that way. Oh my god, chaos. Absolute chaos. And roll number 9, which is hopefully our last roll. 8, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exactly. And that's it, guys. We're at the finish line. This is the first time this has happened, but we actually directly landed on the finish line, which means I don't have to add another mood read. I'm done. So I have my 8 books, plus my punishment book, whatever that happens to be. I'll insert a cover of the picture here just to remind you guys what that ended up being. So yeah, we have 8 books. Only some of them are really like spooky reads that I think will work well with the readathons that I'm planning on doing. So we'll see how that works out. But anyway, I am planning on doing some vlogging in October. I'm probably not going to vlog. Ideally, I would like to weekly vlog the whole month. But I just don't think that's quite gonna happen because every time I try to do that, I just can't keep up with the editing and then I get overwhelmed and then I just give up. But I would like to start filming more videos, filming more vlogs, and hopefully being a little bit more present here on YouTube and posting some more content. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Like the video if you liked what you saw, subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. And I will see you guys all in my next video. Thanks for watching.